There's a war happening inside you right now. You might not hear the clash of swords or see the smoke rising, but it's there, constant, quiet, and relentless. It's the war between the self you want to be and the self that keeps pulling you back into chaos. Every morning you wake up and say, today will be different. You'll focus, you'll eat better, you'll stop scrolling, you'll stop giving in. But by nightfall, you're back in the same loop. Your impulses win, your mind drags you where it wants, and you whisper to yourself, why can't I control my own mind? It's one of the most painful realizations to know that the thing controlling your life isn't you, but the storm inside your head. And yet, this is not a modern struggle. The philosophers, mystics, and warriors of old all faced the same battle, the fight against themselves. In ancient Greece, the Oracle of Delphi had a simple command carved into its stone walls: know thyself. It wasn't a suggestion, it was a warning, because the greatest enemy of man has never been the external world. Not money, not politics, not other people, but the mind that manipulates them all. Plato once wrote that the human soul is like a chariot pulled by two horses. One horse represents our desires, wild, passionate, impulsive. The other represents reason, calm, deliberate, controlled. And the charioteer, you, must guide them both. Lose control, and the horses will drag you into ruin, but gain mastery, and they'll carry you toward freedom. The tragedy of modern life is that most people have handed the reins to the wrong horse. We've let the impulsive, emotional part of our mind lead the way, because it feels good, because it's easy, because it promises pleasure right now. We live not by choice, but by reaction. And every time we react, instead of respond, the mind grows stronger, while we grow weaker.
Think about it. How many times have you done something you knew you'd regret? How many times have you said, I shouldn't have eaten that, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have stayed up so late? You knew. You always knew, but you couldn't stop yourself. This is what Nietzsche meant when he said, he who cannot command himself must obey. If you cannot control your own thoughts, someone else or something else will control them for you. And that's exactly what's happening today. Your attention is being hijacked. Your emotions are being engineered, and your habits are being weaponized against you. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself. It knows what will make you angry, what will make you click, what will keep you scrolling. It feeds your impulses until your discipline starves. And slowly, without realizing it, you lose the ability to choose what you think about, what you desire, and even who you are. But here's the uncomfortable truth. No one is coming to save you from your own mind. There's no app, no therapy session, no book that can do the work for you. Because the enemy you're fighting is you. Self-control isn't about denying yourself pleasure. It's about reclaiming your power. It's not suppression, it's sovereignty. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, a man who could have anything at any time, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Notice how he didn't say, "You might have power." He said, "You have power." But most people never learn to use it because they mistake the mind for the self. They think, I am my thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them.
Imagine sitting by a river. Thoughts are the water, constantly flowing.
Anger rushes past. Desire drifts by. Fear crashes in waves. Most people jump into the river every time, pulled away by the current of whatever emotion comes next. But self-control is sitting on the shore, watching the water flow and realizing you don't have to jump in. This is the first rule of mastering the mind. You must become aware before you can become free. Watch your mind. Study it like a scientist studies an animal in the wild. Notice what triggers it, what distracts it, what makes it restless. Because awareness is the weapon the mind cannot defend against. When you observe your thoughts without reacting, they lose their power over you. When you name your emotions, they become manageable. When you confront your impulses, they begin to dissolve. But awareness alone isn't enough, because knowing the path is not the same as walking it. To control your mind, you must train it. And this is where most people fail, not because they can't, but because it's uncomfortable. We crave comfort more than we crave truth. We want peace without discipline, happiness without sacrifice, mastery without struggle. But as Bonhoeffer once wrote, freedom is not the right to do what we want, but the power to do what we ought. Discipline is not punishment. It's the art of aligning your actions with your highest values and goals, even when your emotions scream otherwise. It's waking up when you said you would. It's doing the work even when no one's watching. It's saying no to the small pleasures so you can say yes to something greater. And the more you practice this, the more your mind bends to your will. Because every small victory, every time you resist the distraction, silence a negative thought, or hold your tongue, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Let me tell you a story. There's a tale of a samurai who approached a Zen master and asked, "Master, how can I control my mind?" The master simply replied, "Show me your mind." The samurai said, "But I can't find it." The master smiled, "And it is already under your control." The lesson is simple yet profound. The mind you try to fight directly becomes stronger, but the mind you observe calmly loses its grip. You cannot dominate your thoughts by force, only through understanding. Like a wild animal, the mind resists aggression, but if you watch it patiently, it grows tame. So why do we still suffer? Why do we keep losing this inner battle? Because the mind's greatest trick is convincing you that you are it. It whispers, you are your failures, you are your fear, you are your desires, and you believe it. But the truth is, your mind is a servant pretending to be the master. When you realize this, everything changes. You start to see thoughts as tools, not truths. Emotions as messengers, not masters. Desires as impulses, not commands. That's when you begin to live deliberately. That's when the noise fades and you start hearing the quiet voice underneath, the one that has been drowned out for years. The Buddhists call it the monkey mind, always jumping, restless, chaotic. But beneath it lies the still mind, vast, steady, silent. To reach it, you must stop chasing every thought that appears. Meditation, solitude, deep reflection. These aren't escapes, they're confrontations. They force you to sit with the chaos long enough for it to settle. And when it does, you begin to see that the mind is not an enemy to destroy, but a landscape to understand. In that stillness, you see that your anger is just pain in disguise.
Your fear is just love turned inside out. Your distractions are simple escape routes from a truth you're not ready to face. And once you face it, once you stop running, your mind no longer has power over you.
But here's the paradox of control. The more you try to control your mind, the more it rebels. True mastery is not control through force. It's control through awareness. It's realizing that the goal is not to silence the mind, but to listen to it without being enslaved by it. As Machiavelli once said, the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. In other words, wisdom isn't about knowing what to do. It's about doing it before your weaker self takes over. Self-control is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's not about never falling. It's about noticing when you've fallen and standing back up, quickly, deliberately, without shame. Because every time you rise faster than before, your mind learns who's in charge. In the end, controlling your mind is not about becoming some cold, emotionless being. It's about balance. It's about being able to feel deeply, but not drown. To think clearly, but not be consumed by thoughts. To act with emotion, but never at its mercy. This is the quiet power of those who have mastered themselves. They walk through chaos calmly. They face temptation without fear. They live not as prisoners of the mind, but as its commander. And when you reach that point, when you can look your thoughts in the eye and say, "You do not control me anymore," that's when you finally understand what freedom really means. Because the truest form of power has never been control over others. It has always been control over oneself. So the next time you feel lost inside your own head, remember this. Your mind is not your enemy. It's your instrument. But it's up to you whether it plays noise or music. And if you can master that, if you can master you, then nothing, not even the storms of life itself, can move you. Because the calmest person in the room is always the one who's already won the war within.